It's all wrong. By rights, we shouldn't even be here. But we are. It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo. The ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines, it will shine out the clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you, that meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, I do understand. I know now. Bulk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. They kept going, because they were holding on to something. They were holding on, well, I don't know how to... I don't think there's any way to continue the quote without pausing and saying what Frodo says. What are we holding on to, Sam? That there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo. And it's worth fighting for. I was very distraught last night. Watching slowly as something I didn't think was possible became a reality. I sat there and just... I mean, it's just hard to say. It's just... What do you even do in that situation? What can men do against such reckless hate? They want me dead. I sat there reading countless live stream comments and people saying things. They want me dead. Because I'm different. I know plenty of people, including myself, who have thought about giving up right now. Ending their life. As I said, I was one of them for a second. If life is going to be so hard in the future, if nobody's going to have our back in the system that we live in, then why even bother? Just why bother? But I know now. There's lots of chances to turn back. But I don't want to. Even if it's just for a simple reason. A simple reason that you can find to keep fighting. That's all you need. Who cares if it's silly? If it's important to you, I'll respect it. Even if I'm the only one who can respect it. I'll respect your will to live. Growing up, I loved The Lord of the Rings. And there was a message in there. A message in that story. And it stuck with me, even though I didn't know it. But I think now is the time that I draw upon that message. That little bit of hope. In the Fellowship of the Ring, Gandalf falls into a great pit, defending his friends, his companions. It's a great tragedy. But they can't give up there, and they don't. They find time to mourn over a period of time. They don't do it all at once, because they don't have the option to. So they mourn a little bit here and there when they can. And at the end of the Fellowship of the Ring, when Frodo and Sam abandon the group to go on their journey alone, and Merry and Pippin are abducted by the Orcai, it seems like all is lost. The entire reason that they had grouped together is just kind of evaporated. But Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas come together and find new meaning. They find a new reason to keep going. Even if they don't know whether Merry and Pippin are dead or alive. But they hold hope that they're alive. Because they loved them. So they kept fighting. and in the Two Towers. King Theoden is under the spell of Grima. And he banishes his nephew, I think it was nephew. Oh yeah, Éomer, his nephew. He banishes Éomer, and it seems like Rohan is doomed to nothingness. But when Theoden calls for help, well, he doesn't think there's help. When Theoden thinks death is at his door, knows death is at his door, in Helm's Deep, Éomer comes back. They didn't know if Helm's Deep would have been taken by then or not. And had they gotten there any later, Theoden would probably have died. But Éomer came back, even though it seemed like Rohan was doomed to failure. He came back because he had hope in his people and his uncle. When Treebeard is witness to a genocide of his fellow treekin, his fellow Ents, he is so struck with grief that he changes his mind on self-preservation. And regardless of whether he's going to win or not, he decides he's going to get revenge and he's going to fight. Because he cannot take what happened to his family lightly. They saw what happened to their friends and family, and they did not give up. And in The Return of the King, despite how Theoden had thought before, his main goal was self-preservation of his family and his people and his country. When Gondor called for aid, the hope that Éomer had in his people, in humanity, was passed on. And Theoden rose to the occasion because he had some hope. When Sam thinks Frodo has died, he does give up. He lets go of Frodo and takes the ring for himself to try and complete the mission himself. I guess it's only half given up. But when he learns that Frodo is still alive, he has the strength and willpower to fight back his sadness and feeling of loss that he had in order to save Frodo. He found hope. And he had something to fight for. And when, at the Black Gates, the combination army of Gondor and Rohan's soldiers with the Fellowship is surrounded by thousands of orcs. Obviously a battle they cannot win. Aragorn falters for a moment before leading the charge. He sits still. But his hope came back. He did not know if Frodo and Sam were alive. In fact, honestly, it probably would have been a good choice to believe that they're dead. I mean, I wouldn't be able to believe that they could fight off the spider. Ungoliant? Or was that the mother? But he had to have hope. He had to keep fighting. Because if he gave up, it would have been the end of mankind and possibly elf and dwarf kind. And hobbit kind. And when it seems that all strength is lost on the slopes of Mount Doom, Frodo and Sam have both collapsed. They don't even know if they're gonna be able to make it to the top. And they know for damn sure that they are not going to survive. But but Sam looks up and he sees a star. One single little star in the sky. The sky so covered by clouds and ash. One little bit of blue and a bit of brightness. And it shined clearly. And that gave him hope. Hope that things could return to normal. And so he mustered up strength beyond his body, beyond his mind, pure strength of will. The last bit of strength, just to get to the top. He found a reason to keep going. All of them found reasons to keep going, to keep fighting. Whether for friendship, for honor, for righteousness, or in spite. Every person throughout those stories found a reason to keep going and keep fighting in spite of the overwhelming odds. Because that's all they could do. If they gave up, that would ensure their demise. So they kept fighting. And in the end, it was only a passing thing. The darkness passed. And the sun shined clearer than it ever had. You can find that strength. You can find that reason to fight. You might feel like Frodo. You might feel that so many things are dragging you down, you just can't keep going. You just can't lift yourself up. But I know you can. You can look in there. You can find something, some bit of hope. Hope that this darkness will pass. And you can become Sam and lift yourself up. Carry yourself to the end. Battered and bruised, mentally scarred, but alive. And there to tell the tale to those that follow. Do not let those memories fade. Those that you have lost, places that have been destroyed, evil things and good things. All these stories must live on, and they will live on through you, through your words. and you will pass those stories on. And those stories will be the things that stick, even if those people don't know it. And they will find meaning in your stories. And they will draw from that strength that you once had in their time of need. You were not born for nothing. You were born to make a story and to pass it on. You may not think that what you do will have any meaning. But someone will remember. And it will be the strength that someone draws on. And if you cannot have faith in yourself, have faith in others at least. And know that they will fight on. There is always going to be somebody willing to be far beyond selfless in order to fight for who they are. And eventually, the darkness will pass, and we will see a far green field under a swift sunrise.